The following presentation is brought to you by Discovery Education, leading the world of digital and video learning. Discovery Education, connect to a world of learning.
There's the speed demon.
The moment you put in the key,
the moment you hear the engine fire,
there's a feeling.
I mean, when you hear something start up and you hear it rumble, it just kind of gets your blood boiling a little bit, and you're just like, ah.
It's indescribable, really. It's just like power.
It's about power, horsepower.
But also something else. The power that comes from feeling free.
It gives me the freedom to go where I want to go, when I want to go.
And how fast.
No doubt about it, driving is fun.
It was just like, whew, I'm driving. I can't believe it. I'm driving by myself. My mom's not in the car. I can listen to the music however I feel like.
So much fun that you can forget how quickly it can end.
All those things we do all the time, grabbing the phone, looking around, but it only takes a second to be distracted.
Almost always, it's our choice how safe we are. You probably heard the numbers, but it's still hard to believe. Every year, about 6,000 teens die in car crashes. That's an average of 16 teens per day.
I don't even remember hitting the truck because I was looking down at my phone when I hit it.
I constantly have dreams of walking and waking up in the morning thinking I can walk and realizing that you can't.
All that freedom, all that fun, all that power, and 1,000 things could go wrong.
In an instant.
There's a blue Jeep Cherokee, like an older body style. He's swerving all over the curb. Whoa, he's about to crash. He's pretty much... He just crashed. There's a real bad wreck.
Tell me what he hit, sir.
Okay, he hit it. He hit a taxi cab on the cross.
The driver of the car that hit the cab, as it turned out, was a girl, a teenager, Jamie Webb.
I couldn't open my eyes. When I was coming around, I was laying on the ground. They had just pulled me out, and I heard them say, oh, he's dead.
Before the accident, Jamie had been doing the same thing she did a lot of weekend nights, drinking. A couple of times she was lucky and made it home without a problem. Not this time.
Felt like a bad dream, because I was still drunk, you know. I was still pretty drunk. And they said, no, I said, is he okay? And they said, no, ma'am, there's a man that's dead.
The driver of the taxi cab, Jamie Webb's victim, was Willie King.
He was quiet, caring, considerate.
Jamie was convicted of vehicular homicide.
Mr. King, my victim, he was in the car about 4 hours dying before they could get to him.
One of the people was bleeding from the nose. The driver's pinned between the steering wheel and that person.
They said that he was talking and he was moaning before then, so they knew he was alive.
It's real bad.
It just haunts me. I can hear him in my head, just, you know, talking and trying to get help.
He was a major part of my life because I always thought he was going to be there for me, and he's not.
The results of drinking and driving can be devastating. We know that. We've heard it again and again. But we hear that so much, it can be easy to forget that being sober doesn't mean you're safe. In fact, in fatal crashes involving 16 to 20-year-olds, only about 25% of the time was alcohol to blame. What kills a lot more of us is the simple everyday stuff. Not paying attention, getting distracted, going too fast.
Richard was driving when he sent his girlfriend a text message on his cell phone.
You just look down, text, look up, drive, down, text, and it's not hard to do, I mean, so everybody does it.
At least he didn't think it was hard until his car slammed into a cement truck. The car was crushed. He was pinned under the compressed metal.
so it crushed my pelvis and hip. And my knee, I tore 2 ligaments and chipped a piece of my kneecap off.
His femur had been taken out of socket, and that he had crushed his hip and pelvis and done some damage to his knee, and they were real concerned about his foot and that he didn't have any circulation getting into it because of the cuts on his legs. It was swelling up so much.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ryan.
Ryan Duffner had just turned 2, and his mom Lisa was taking him out for an afternoon walk.
His smile was ear to ear. I thought he was just such a big boy.
A moment later, Ryan and Lisa were hit by a car. The driver, 16 years old, was talking on her cell phone.
I was in a coma for 3 days, and when I came out of my coma, my husband came and told me that Ryan wasn't going to make it. No one ever let me hold my baby. That was my biggest regret. I could hear them talking around me, and no one let me. That's something not to say goodbye to my own baby. That was hard. They sat him on the floor and I held his hand. I said, I wish it was me.
Happy birthday to you.
Okay, blow him out.
The thing is, some of us think using cell phones while driving is easy.
I talk on my cell phone all the time when I'm driving, but I don't consider it a big deal because, you just gotta watch for the roads.
Sounds logical, but the numbers don't lie. According to a recent study, the odds of having a crash are 4 times greater when a driver uses a cell phone. Whether you realize it or not, reduces your reaction time. In fact, the researchers figured out that using a cell phone makes your reaction time as slow as a 70-year-old driver. Does it really take a crash or a tragedy to remind us of what's important?
My doctor told me by the time I'm 50, I'll probably have to have a hip replacement. So I guess I have that to look forward to when I get older. So, and then my knee's probably going to give me problems when I'm older because it's all messed up. Still have a torn ligament in it. I got to get it fixed next summer.
It's going to limit him on, what he can do. He won't be a rugby player on an intramural team in college or something like that, where before he probably, because of his daringness and physical ability, he probably would have done something like that in college. That's kind of out.
If I can get that across to anybody, it would be wonderful. My biggest thing is just pull over to make your phone call. And it's not worth, you're so self-important that you endanger everybody else's lives.
You should have your priorities when you're in a car, and the phone shouldn't be your first priority like driving safely should be. So, I agree with that.
Even when we're not on the cell phone, there's a ton of things that can take our attention away from the road. Eating, finding a song, putting on makeup, all of it takes our eyes, our focus, away from the road. For more than 70% of teens killed in crashes, the cause was driver error. One of the biggest distractions, other people. Sometimes it's another driver on the road that makes you mad.
Why don't you learn how to drive, man?
Sometimes you just want to yank somebody out of their window and just beat the crap out of them for being so stupid.
Driving when you're mad can mean driving more aggressively, more dangerously. But an even bigger risk is having friends along for the ride.
We turn up the music, start acting real crazy. It's like not paying attention to the road.
When guys are with you, you be a little bit more adventurous just because that's what we do. You challenge your boys or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen folks just turn halfway around, halfway taking their hands off the wheel just to turn around and talk.
In fact, according to researchers at Johns Hopkins University, every extra friend in a car with a teen driver increases the chance of a fatal crash. 3, and you're 3 times more likely to die. 17-year-old Jason Brady was killed when the guy he was riding with took this turn too fast. Their car flipped over.
He was in a car with his friend and he didn't say no when he should have.
17-year-old April Boudreau was riding in a car with 4 other girls when the driver lost control.
They were doing between 70 to 80 miles an hour when they reached the curve, and she wasn't ready to take the curve, so she panicked. And she snatched the steering wheel to the right and slammed on the brakes.
April was pronounced dead at the hospital.
Masha was riding with 4 other friends when their car lost control and went off the road.
We kind of went through the driveway into the grass, into the wooded area. And when we hit the driveway, I was like, okay, we're on a driveway, you know? That was like the thought that flashed into my mind. Then we like crashed into the tree, and I closed my eyes during the impact, and I opened my eyes, and I was just like, for that 1 second before I realized what was wrong with me, I was just like, oh, okay, it's just a little crash, we're all okay.
Masha wasn't okay. Paralyzed from the waist down, doctor says she'll probably never walk again.
When I sleep, I have dreams, and in my dreams, I'm not in a wheelchair. I'm walking. And it's so real that sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I think I'm walking. You know, not that I think I'm walking, but I think I can. I think I can feel, I think I can move, I think I can walk. And then like those 2 seconds, you know, when I wake up and when I realize like where I am and what's going on, you know, and then I'm like, oh, I can't. And that's what I start off my day with. It's like, no, I can't.
Still, compared to her friend, Armando Flores, she was lucky.
So when I opened my eyes after we hit the tree, and I was like kind of looking around in the car to see what was going on, Armando was like way underneath the front, way underneath the front of the seat.
Armando was completely paralyzed. He can hear everything and think clearly, but is unable to talk, walk, eat, drink, do anything by himself. With a huge amount of effort, he's able to slightly move his finger, and uses that for the word yes when his grandmother asks him a question.
Did something happen that day? Yes. Did it change your life? Yes.
We're approaching 110 miles an hour at this time.
Speed.
Got 2 racing westbound.
Sometimes it takes a cop to finally slow you down.
Turn your car off if it's not already off. Okay. Okay. You're under arrest for drag racing in the city limits.
I'm not.
Okay. I know. I've been following you for the last mile and a half. How old are you?
I'm 19.
19 years old. I apologize.
What are the handcuffs for?
Well, you're under arrest for drag racing.
Is my car going to be locked up?
Yes, sir. It will be towed. Go ahead and put your chest on the back of the trunk lid. Thank you.
Speed.
Do you have a copy of the test?
Braden wonders how he even survived his wreck.
Doesn't really matter how it happened, but I hit a tree going 70, and it was smashed all the way to the back wheel. They didn't even know that there was a third person in the back. I went underneath the seat, and they had to pull me out with the jaws of life, which is like a big pair of scissors. And I woke up in the hospital, and my mouth was wired shut. There was a big gash in my eye, and I was sore as all hell.
Months of recovery followed. He still has medical issues related to the crash.
Ashley will never fully recover.
Well, try to keep it there. Okay. And then roll over and push yourself up on this arm and then pull this one back. Okay.
She was speeding in her car down a country road. It crashed. Then she heard the news. She was paralyzed from the chest down.
I just remember my first thoughts being, why me? You know, I just remember thinking, everybody has done this, you know, and why me pretty much? Why am I the one that has to go through this now?
The problem is, we never think it's gonna be us, until it is.
My overall attitude was, I can do whatever I want now, pretty much. You know, and that I should be able to, without any repercussions. And I just regret that I didn't take more care of myself, I guess you could say. And I just regret that overall attitude of being invincible.
Invincible. We've all been accused of that before. But where does that feeling come from? Turns out, that's just the way some of our brains work.
Car surfing.
We've done it down the freeway at 70 miles an hour. And we've gone, out in the woods doing 30, 40 miles an hour, going over ruts, through mud holes.
It's incredibly dangerous. So why do it?
Everybody knows that you do stupid things, you're going to get hurt, but we don't really think about it while we're doing it. We're just trying to have fun.
Whether it's car surfing, speeding, dialing, and driving, it's easy to think, it won't happen to me.
Judgment and decision making really require that you have lots of experiences with judgment and decision making. And if you're 15 years old, you probably haven't had those.
But he says there is another reason for that invincible feeling. That feeling that we can get away with it.
Researchers at UCLA and the National Institute of Mental Health did brain scans of 13 healthy kids every 2 years from age 4 through age 21. They discovered that the front of the brain, the prefrontal lobe, takes the longest to mature. Unfortunately, that's also the part of the brain that controls impulse. The part of the brain that, sometimes at least, keeps us from doing stupid things.
We recently discovered that the female brain takes approximately 24 to 25 years before the frontal lobe of the brain actually matures. In men, it's 29.
It doesn't mean we can't make smart decisions, but it may take a little more effort.
And I think a lot of it comes from, just the fact of being independent. And I think a lot of people get just a little bit too free-willed, that they just lose their mind and stop thinking totally. And, they just get on the road and say, okay, this is the fast lane, I'm going to go. You know what I'm saying? And then they just forget about, okay, there are other people driving. I have to drive for other people as well as me.
Sometimes you have accidents, you can't help it, but he can help his situation.
With driving, you need common sense. You have to have that before you can do anything. And like the stop sign thing, it's a stop sign. It means stop. What's so hard about that? Stop the car and look.
They should have some sort of testing done at the driver's license place. Like some sort of IQ test, like above 60 you can get a driver's license.
And I can't tell you that if you're crazy enough to be going 100 miles an hour and driving so recklessly, not once, but like multiple times, continually, I'm sorry, but it's the stupidest thing you could possibly do.
If anything is wrong with the car, if anything is wrong with the situation or the weather, I cannot drive.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because driving is a learning experience, and you do, I think, the more you're on the road, the more you realize the necessity for safety.
And a lot of times I just scream and I'm like, Mom, what do you think? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you punishing me when I haven't done anything wrong? And then I have to cool off and think, it's not that she's punishing me, it's that she loves me.
The fact is, so many car crashes are preventable. The thousands of deaths, the tens of thousands of injuries, they didn't have to happen. They are the result of choice. We can choose to put down the cell phones, the fast food, the makeup.
We're in a car with a friend driving. We can tell them to focus on the road and not drive stupid.
We can choose to never do anything, like drink alcohol or do drugs, that could impair our ability to drive.
And we can just go slower.
I'd like everybody to know how much of a champion he was. He was always a winner. He never accepted loss. He was a good person. He always brightened everybody's day. He always had this magical smile.
Every time he gets in the car, Jacob thinks about his good friend, Jason Brady.
Just dealing with the fact that, this could happen to me, so I'm going to drive carefully. I'm going to stop at every red light. I'm going to turn my music down so it doesn't distract me. I'm not going to have as many people in my car. Me and a friend were talking, and the simple fact is, she said, one day he's going to kill somebody. And 2 days later, he just did.